I believe in you. I believe that you are carrying a great potential. I believe that you are designed to make great things happen. At the same time, I would like to say, just because you are carrying a measure of significance doesn't mean that things are going to happen for you right away. Just because you are gifted, because you are talented, you know where you're going. You're working hard. You are putting in the quote and unquote 10,000 hours towards the vision. You have great work ethics. You have discipline. You have great rituals. You have great habits as far as your daily life is concerned. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden things are going to happen right away. As a matter of fact, there is no specific science that can tell you how many days, how many weeks, how many months, how many years, or how many decades will you have to wait before you self-actualize. And here's the funny thing. It is precisely in the moment between when you come to realize that you're carrying something great and when you finally actualize, it is in between these two moments, between these two extremes, that most people, unfortunately, go crazy. Why? Because they cannot wait precisely for things to start happening for them. And the longer it takes, the more they become tempted to either take shortcuts, to simply give up, or finally to simply choose to believe that yes, maybe it was all a lie. But what they don't understand is the following. There are certain things you cannot change as far as life is concerned. Everything in life works on the very basic first principle, which is in everything that you do, there's going to be ebb and flow. There's going to be ups and downs. So it is precisely while you are waiting to go from the down to the up that most people used to check out, to give up and believe that yes, either I take shortcuts or I simply stop believing in this thing, or I choose to believe that yes, maybe it was a lie or I'm simply cursed. And this is really fundamental to understand. It is in between the two levels, this low level and the high level. Let me just break it down. It's when you start between the two levels that most people start going crazy. That's number one. Number two, it's like, you know for a fact that yes, I used to run and hang with this particular group of people. But over time, as I've come to understand that I'm carrying a great measure of significance, that I'm carrying something of value as far as my life is concerned. And therefore I need to start taking my life more seriously. So I can no longer be running with the same pack of friends, the same group of friends, the same posse of friends I used to spend time with. Because I have outgrown them as far as life vision is concerned. But guess what? As you outgrow your old friends, you are now stuck between the past and the future. Let me tell you why. Because just because you have outgrown your old friends and you've come to realize that I'm carrying a vision, I'm carrying something of significance, I'm working towards it, I've developed a discipline to make things happen, it doesn't mean that all of a sudden that the people at the top I'm still going to embrace and say, yes, come, we've been waiting for you, yes, come join us right away. No, they will also need to make sure that you prove that you are carrying indeed what you say you're carrying. They will need to see the good, or they need to see the evidence before they can embrace you. And precisely when you are lost, when you are basically in no man's land between the past and the future, or between the down and the up, that's precisely why most people lose their mind, because they cannot take the pressure that comes with being in between two levels. Let me now give you the principle that can help you understand how to deal with the pressure between two levels. And I'm going to end with an example that's going to further illustrate what I'm talking about. The principle is simple. Sesame. The first letter simply stands for what? You have to embrace solitude. As you are between levels, you have to embrace solitude. Why? Because it is only when you embrace solitude that you're going to see how to sharpen the vision, and more specifically, learn to sharpen the tool that you are becoming. That's number one. Number two, E for elasticity. You have to learn to develop this great sense of elasticity as far as your mind is concerned. No matter how long it's taking between the two levels, you have to learn to become elastic. Don't complain. Don't blame anyone as far as how much it's taking before you can actually get to the next level. Just stay there and learn to develop the elasticity of your mind. Say to yourself, no matter what, I am not going to break. I'm going to stretch my mind, but I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm going to stretch my mind, but I'm not going to break down, because I understand it's about growing as far as the elasticity of my mind is concerned. That's E for elasticity. As for what, you have to come to a place where you study. You learn to study not only the people who have gone before you, but also the peers who are basically at the level where you're supposed to go. Number two. And number three, you know to more specifically learn to study yourself. Become a student as far as who you are is concerned. Become a student. Learn to journal your journey as far as how you conduct yourself on a daily basis. Become basically an observer, a keen observer as far as how you react to certain things, as far as how you envision the future, as far as how you basically plan the week, and as far as how you execute. Because the more you know yourself, the more you know the environment where you're going, and the more you know how people before you have actually reached the top, the more you're going to become more comfortable with the process. That's S. S for study yourself and study others and study those who've gone before you. A for what? You have to come to a place where you have to say to yourself, I'm going to maintain a great sense of activity. No matter what, I am not going to remain idle as far as the wait is concerned. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to actively make something happen while I'm waiting for the big thing to happen. I'm going to make small things happen while I'm waiting for the big thing to happen. I'm going to be making small things happen while I'm waiting for the big breakthrough to happen. Why? Because it is simply an accumulation of all this micro momentum, macro victory that's simply going to lead you to a place of great triumph as far as life is concerned. And for what? Meticulousness. You simply have to come to a place where you pay attention to everything around you. Because the greater sense of attention to details, the better when it's going to be when it comes to your ability to execute and come closer to convincing people at the next level to simply say, yes, so and so is ready for the next level. Last but not least is simply for a sense of keeping your eye on the end vision. No matter what, say to yourself, I'm between, but I'm not here to stay. I'm going somewhere. And no matter how long it takes for me to be here, I know this is not the final destination. The final destination is basically where I'm going. I'm enjoying the process, but my eyes are on the prize. Not where I am, not on my current circumstances, but my eyes are on the prize. And this is definitely the 60 principle you have to consider when it comes to how to navigate this phase called in-between levels. Let me now give you an example to further illustrate basically how tricky this thing can be, this formula, and also specifically how the two E's of this formula are also the trickiest part that you can navigate as far as you being in between levels. In 1926, as a matter of fact, two gentlemen were born in that year. May 26, 1926, was born a young man that came to be known as Miles Davis. September 23rd, 1926 was born a gentleman who came to be known as John Coltrane. Let me just focus on John Coltrane. John Coltrane was born, I've been telling this story for the past few weeks. Let me just actually fast forward. So his auntie passed away in 1938. Shortly after that, his father passed away. And a few months after that, his grandmother passes away. So within less than 12 months, he lost 3 people that were very close to him that he used to see on a daily basis. So the young man's mind is almost going completely crazy. Born in 1926, but shortly before he was able to turn 13, he witnessed all these 3 tragedies. Around the same time, something amazing happened. He was introduced to music through school. He started playing the horn. He started playing the clarinet. And at home, he was exposed to the piano and so on and so forth. Slowly but surely, he became accustomed to actually seeing himself as a musician. After he graduated grade 11 in High Point in North Carolina, in 1943, he moves to Philadelphia, where his mom was already living, because that's where she was able to secure employment, because jobs were actually galore in Philadelphia. And that's where eventually John Coltrane also found himself in 1943. Between 1943 and 1945, he found himself drafted during the World War II, and he goes to war, and when he's discharged from the army by the Navy, he comes back to Philadelphia, and that's where he started living. And now comes down a specific date, very important date, June 5th, 1945, at exactly 8:30 p.m. in Philadelphia, a big concert was taking place. A legendary artist was actually set to perform by the name of Dizzy Gillespie. As they went, John Coltrane and a few friends of his went to a particular concert. They did not know that also among the musicians that were actually going to perform Dizzy Gillespie, there was a young and upcoming artist that was simply going to make history by the name of Charlie Bird Parker. But at one point during the concert, Dizzy Gillespie gave this young man, Charlie Bird Parker, a chance to do a solo. And as he was doing a solo, all the young people that used to play a wind instrument were simply mesmerized. Amongst them, John Coltrane. John Coltrane simply fell in love with the way that Charlie Bird Parker was playing music. And from that point, he said to himself, I have to reach this particular level. After the concert, they went backstage to say hello to Dizzy Gillespie and also to greet Charlie Bird Parker, and from that point, it was seen the beginning of a sense of emulation. He had to reach the same level as Charlie Bird Parker. Here's the funny thing, that was in 1945. Between 1945 and 1948, he's performing the ability to play the saxophone. 1948, a breakthrough comes to his way. A pianist playing for Dizzy Gillespie saying that, yes, there's a young man playing saxophone in Philadelphia. He's doing such a phenomenal job. You have to bring him to play with us. And that was 1940. Between 1940 and 1951, he's playing for Dizzy Gillespie. And from 1951 until 1955, he found himself unemployed. These were basically the years of obscurity. But the young man will go and keep practicing his instrument and spending a crazy amount of hours practicing his music. 1955, he gets married to his first wife, Naima. And between 1955 and 1959, 1960, he goes down to work now with Miles Davis. Here's the funny thing. Miles Davis and John Coltrane were born the same year. But the difference between the two of them is that Miles Davis had already recorded, so it was already known as far as jazz industry was concerned. But John Coltrane, nobody knew him. So despite the fact they were born the same year, John Coltrane now had to be taking instruction, quote unquote, from his employer, Miles Davis. And he had to do that for about 4 or 5 years. And at one point, he was even fired by Miles Davis, and until eventually Miles Davis brought him back. But he was still being employed by Miles Davis until 1960. Eventually, in 1960, for the very first time in his life, John Coltrane was now an employer because he decided to form his own band. And from that point, history was now going to be made. Why am I talking about this? Because between 1945 and 1960, the young man basically had to spend time between the two levels of basically knowing that, yes, I've outgrown my friends from the past. I can no longer spend time with them, but I can actually go to the next level and be friends with my next level because I have not proven myself yet. So I'm stuck in between the two levels. So of course, intuitively I understood that, yes, the formula is sesame. So I am to come to a place where I practice solitude because I spend insane amount of hours just practicing my instrument. I have to find a way to practice elasticity of the mind to make sure that I don't complain about my situation and simply keep my mind open as far as the process is concerned. And as I have to study myself, study others, and also study the people who have gone before me. So he's doing that. He also said to himself, yes, I have to make sure I remain active as far as business is concerned. I have to keep practicing. Even during concert, it will be playing with someone, and during the concert, when it's time to play is actually over, he'll be going to the washroom just to practice until it's time to go perform again is concerned. So this man will spend a crazy amount of hours practicing. Activity was basically written on his forehead as far as life is concerned. M for meticulousness. He was absolutely meticulous as far as his dedication is concerned. And E for what? He kept the end in mind. But here is now where E is our best 2 point where most people actually go crazy. E for elasticity and E for the end in mind. Because at one point while he was waiting between the two ends, John Coltrane started engaging in activity or what we describe today as self-sabotage. As I was saying a few days ago, he will, number one, develop a disdain for dentists, but at the same time, fall in love sweet. So when from time to time he'll be experiencing toothache, instead of going to see a dentist, what he will do, indulge, reach for a bottle, and start drinking because he wanted to numb the pain. And when that was not enough, guess what he started doing? He started snorting heroin. And from that point, it was the beginning of a dangerous cycle that cost him his liver. Because by 1967, when he died, the main cause of his death was the fact that his liver could no longer take it. Most people know that was due to the fact that the liver had been simply damaged over excessive drinking. So again, info elasticity, that's where most people actually come to lose the mind. And info also end in mind. You may say to yourself, yeah, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. But the longer it takes for you to reach where you're going, the more or the greater the temptation become to simply say yes. After all, this end point I'm shooting for is an illusion. I might as well give up on it and start, and eating everything I'm supposed to be enjoying later because I don't even know if eventually I'm going to make it when it comes to this particular end destination. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Before I go, just a reminder, you are perfection made flesh. But now for that perfection be manifested, you have to remain intentional. Intentional more specifically when it comes to how you spend time in between levels. Remember the process. Remember the formula. Sesame. Remember to embrace solitude. Remember to practice elasticity of your mind. Remember to study. Study yourself. Study those at the top level and study those who have already gone before you. Remember to remain active. Activity is very key. Remember to remain meticulous, and last but not least, keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the end point where you are going. All right. Much love, everyone. Take good care. I'm out.